been doing this whole thing. We've been doing this whole thing for like over an hour and I haven't recorded any of it, but that's okay because listen, so like Cruz, you should come back on here then when you're near a computer and do a screen share where you can like go like talk
Yeah,
everybody through that whole thing and show us like how that whole thing works, I think.
Yeah, I
Because
I,
definitely
I,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that detailed, to be honest.
yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
so
either.
I'm
so
surprised.
a lot of people say that they don't like it because they don't know how to run it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you don't know how to run it, you're burning your money. Don't get me wrong, but that's why it doesn't ever hurt to go to YouTube and Google or whatever how to run Facebook ads 2024 and learn. You know what I'm saying? It's really simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Which
just I would try and I just never thought I got like enough out of it like to
yeah,
justify it. It was like a Yelp ad to me or something, you know?
yeah.
But I mean
No,
if
that's how I got most. That's how I got most of my businesses from Facebook ads, commercial properties too. You know,
Wow.
because
like
I saw a guy, I keep getting these guy probably because I'm a pickleball guy, but I'm getting these heads up like advertising from like some company like in upstate Maine that does pickleball courts. And I just reached out to the guy and was just like, hey, like, you know, do you have your geographic? Like, why offer that all the way down here? And he's like, no, what I do is I start with like a wide radius. And then as the ad runs out, I shrink my radius to my area. And that's how I control the algorithm. And he said that to me. And I was like, I need to know everything I can about this. Like, because to me, that's fascinating. Like, how does that guy know that? I don't know that, like, and then Cruz is saying like the same thing now. Cruz is like, oh no, like you can totally exploit this and make it work for you. And I just always thought it was just some gimmick, like the fake Jordans and shit.
Ryan, say you're 2 towns over from where you live, right? And you guys are hammering. You guys are out there all week. Trucks, you're well branded. I'm not. You're well branded and everything, and they see your trucks flying by up and down. These guys are everywhere, and then they see you on their Facebook. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I go with these
Yeah,
guys?
I didn't even fucking think of that, Cruz. I didn't even think of that, dude. Like I didn't even
Like,
think like you could definitely do that. You could definitely set it up like, okay, I'm gonna be working primarily in Auburn next week. I could start running ads that week in Auburn, and then
in that
the whole
specific
time my
area.
trucks are out there, everybody's like, oh fuck, I just saw those guys, you know? So that's actually a really good idea. I like that.
That's
This is
great
why I like
marketing idea.
and this is why I like doing these calls. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all different. We all think different. Like Ryan, you teach us a lot. And like, look, like you're learning something from me. And like
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, I was asking you questions. How do you do this? What do you do
yeah.
when this happens? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
that's
but
just
dude, you're a hustler, and like
yeah,
everybody's on here basically because they're a hustler and they want to get better at what they do.
right.
But we've all learned from other people, right? We've all watched other people's videos. We've all taken little pieces of that, and then we've applied it to our own personalities and our own like geographical areas and what works for us. And and that's the thing. Like I think collaboration. That's why like at first I was only going to do this with Mike, and then I started thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna throw a post out there, and whoever wants to come on can come on. And at first, I didn't record it because I didn't know how it was gonna go, but I kind of wish I did from the beginning because it turned out to be like a really good conversation, almost so that like, I don't want to be one of these guys that does like a podcast thing. That's not my thing, but like I think it would be beneficial to have like a talk, like at least at least us or other people that say, hey, because collaboration's good. I just learned something today from pretty much everybody, that I
Yeah.
didn't know before I started. And
Mm.
I'm all about just putting information out there to try to help like the next guy. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. The only thing that when it gets difficult is when season comes, we're grinding. You know what I'm
oh
saying?
yeah. Yep.
We
And
don't
it
got
ain't
time.
raining at the same place for all of us. You know what I mean? Like we're
Right.
all in different geographical areas. So the chances that we all get a rain day are pretty slim. But you know,
So
Well, we're on
if
East
I
Coast,
get
though,
rain here,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I
we and
get
you
rain
are.
here, it's like 2 days later.
and Mike too, I
So
guess. Mike, you New Jersey,
Mike,
right?
yeah, Mike, you're in.
Pennsylvania, about a half hour from Jersey, Pennsylvania,
Okay. What
Yeah, so
part in Pennsylvania?
Allentown,
Oh, Allentown. Yeah, I know. It's
Lehigh
growing big.
Valley.
It's becoming a big city.
Oh, it's just booming like crazy.
Yeah,
The traffic's getting worse. Like,
you
yeah. I used to
Yeah,
drive tractor trailer with the FedEx double trailer. I was passing by the Allentown, and it was a small town. And now, like sometimes I pass by, I'm like, holy shit, what happened here?
Too fast, too
Crazy.
much. Yeah, the roads can't. The tractor trailers are busting the roads up. They can't keep them, nice. But yeah, it's a good area. Half my neighborhood's from New York. Everybody from New York moved to my
Oh
neighborhood.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Long Island, where you're at, you could probably know some of
yeah.
my neighbors.
I
The
probably
Jersey
do.
So
people go to Delaware. The New York people move to Pennsylvania. That's how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, from what I know about Allentown, from when I worked for Seal Master, that is one of their flagship locations. Like they are so proud of the owner that owned that. I forgot the guy's name. And I just looked it up.
Barrel.
It doesn't seem like the guy that was there, but I mean, they are so proud. I happen to know that they are very proud of that facility that they have there. So you're lucky that you're that close to it, I guess. Um, but one of the other things that kind of came up was you were asking about bonds, and so we've been having to get bonds. The bigger this, we're getting starting to get into bigger work, and for municipalities and governments and stuff, and they're requiring us to have a bond. And basically, like what a bond is, as it pertains to like us, is it's in place to make sure that you will do what you were hired to do, essentially. You know, the
yeah,
most that
yeah,
the most that we're ever going to run into is something called a surety bond. And that just means that you're assuring through this bond that you're going to complete your task on time and correctly within the scope of work, or there'll be change orders saying, okay, you can go past your date. Most of the time, it only costs about, like for seal coaters and what I've run into, it's only about 3% of what your job is. So it's not much at all. And a lot of times the parent company that's requiring you to get the bond, which is going to be the general contractor who's hiring you to work under their umbrella, they just make you get one, to cover their own ass. It's just part of the deal. Now, a lot of times you don't find out about that until like now you're done, you've given the price, they're hiring you on, and you're starting to fill their paperwork out and stuff. They'll require you to get a bond. In that case, I look at them and go, well, you're paying for the bond then, because you're just fucking paying for the bond. I don't care if it's $300 or 900. You know, if you don't trust me enough to do the work that you hired me for, and well, they'll say, well, we just require it out of everybody. Well, okay, then you can pay for it. And they will. Like they've never said no. Most of them are like, yeah, no problem, you know. And for what you're doing, like we just got a job doing some new sport courts. It's only like 30 grand, but they required a bond. And it was like $900, so, and it just is, there's different types, like there's a surety bonds or surety bonds, which just says you're covered if the guy doesn't finish. There's material bonds, which is like if you see that on a bid, that just means that the company is willing to give you a deposit to buy any materials that aren't associated with the labor type thing. Um, and what does suck and what most people don't know is that it's attached to your credit. So if you have bad credit, you'll never get a bond. If you owe money, you'll never get a bond. If you've had repossessions, you'll never, you have to basically get back in the good graces of having credit before you'll qualify for a bond. Same thing where if you've ever done a job and the bond has gotten pulled because they thought you did sloppy work or you weren't finishing on time, if you've ever had a bond pulled, you'll never get another bond. Now, what happens if you don't have good credit or you've had a bond pull? What can you do, like, to still get that job and satisfy the general contractor? You can put the money up for the job that you're doing, which that could suck, that could really suck. Like, so in my case, you got to submit your last year's taxes. You got to submit basically like a credit report, um, all this shit, and then fill out all their paperwork, and then they can still look at you and require like some sort of collateral. But um, my 2023 taxes haven't been done yet. It's just too early in the season. I needed a bond last month, and they couldn't get my 2023s. So it got to the point where I was just like, well, fuck it. It's a $27,000 job. I'll just put the $27,000 in an escrow account. And then when the job's done, you give me all my money back and the money for the job. But a lot of people don't have that like luxury of having money on hand to put out like that and sit on it for a month until the job's done, you know? And I always don't have that luxury. I'm doing that tennis court job. I just got burned on those tarps, and it's going to be another month before they fix them and send them back. And this is the start of my season. You know, I have payroll. I need that $40,000 of tarp money to fund my season startup. So, you know, you're not always going to be in the position to do that, but it's an option where if you can't get bonded, that they will do that for you, you know? Um, and yeah, as you start getting on a bigger playing field, that's just going to be something that's required of you, you know? And once you get one
Yeah.
bond and complete the job on time, then you'll never have another problem getting a bond again. Your first bond is the hardest bond to get, you know?
Usually it's the government jobs that require for the bond, I guess,
Yep.
or town jobs that I've seen.
Yep, yep. It's always county, always government,
Yeah.
state, municipalities, anything to do with a school or a park or roadways. Um, that's it.
But I think if you get those kind of job, you're on the other level, it's not a seal coating company anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's totally
No,
different level.
right. And something to think about too, if you guys are gonna go on and try to start bidding on those jobs, you know, is like, you know, yeah, you can't do road work, but you can do, you know, your towns have bids on their websites, and there's always parking lot maintenance, you know, jobs out there for your municipalities or the surrounding towns. You know, I guarantee if you two or you three, I don't know how much, you know, municipal work Cruise does, but if you two guys not doing much of it started bidding on that stuff, you would get it. And the only reason you would get it is your prices would be so low that
Yeah,
you would just
absolutely.
automatically get the job. You would in your mind think, I'm gonna add a little bit extra to this, and then you get it, and you're like, oh, I can't believe it, I fucking got it. But the next guy that bid, like I did this one part, I'll never forget this. Like there was a parking lot for a post office, right? There was only like 23 parking spaces, very, very small, right? And somebody told me, oh, that's government, like you have to pay, you know, prevailing wage. What's prevailing wage? Oh, that's the union rate. And it's like, oh wow, so I gotta pay my guy $60 an hour for 3 hours to do this parking lot? Whoop-de-doo. Like, you know, like I'm
Right.
gonna make so much money on this parking lot. So I figured out what I was gonna do, and then I think I added like $5,000, right? It was like a $4,500 parking lot. I think I charged him $9,800 and I got the job, right? I was fucking dance. I was like, yes, you know?
Did you lose the money?
So the late guy comes to me, the bid procurement guy, and he was kind of the one teaching me all this stuff. He's like, oh, I'm like, I wonder what the next guy was. He's like, it's public information. This is a government entity. All the bids are listed online. I was like, ooh, I went and looked online. The top guy was 27,000. The next guy was 25,000, and there was me at 9,000. And I was like, wow, like I am such an idiot. And then I was still working driving trailer trucks for FW Web. So it was like, what do I do? You know, like I got this other job that came up at this housing authority called Great Brook Valley. Up here, it's like, you know, like where Jay-Z grew up in New York. It's like it's the shitholes, it's the towers, you know? And like, but I get a bid to do all they wanted to do is they had these courtyards and they just wanted the cracks filled on the courtyards. So it was like take an MA10, walk down the sidewalks and fix the cracks that went across the thing. It was probably a half a pallet of material. I bid $27,000 on it, right? I got the job. The next bid was 57,000. The bid above
Oh,
that was 63,000.
Mm.
And that's when I realized like,
wow.
okay, so this is why everything in the world, guys, costs so much money. This is why all these roads and shit are falling apart. They're not, you know, in Massachusetts, you have to pay prevailing wage. I'm sure you do in New York too. Like,
Same. Yeah, it's the
yeah.
same. You have
But
to.
in Connecticut, you don't. New Hampshire, so for a seal coater in Massachusetts, the rate is like $60 to $70 an hour. Up in New Hampshire, it's only $17 an hour for prevailing wage. So
That's a big
it's
difference.
yeah, I mean, and but you look at their roads, they're able to do so much more with the money that they have versus what we're able to do in this state. So,
Yeah.
as you guys start, like I haven't looked at the numbers for the Cape Cod job that we got at 154,000 that we made almost 130,000 profit on. Like, but I'm sure it was a lot more than the next guy up was probably another 50,000 over.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can't comprehend these numbers myself. Like I don't even know where I fit in this yet. I every once in a while I'm lucky enough to get a job. I make some good money on it, and then other jobs I don't get. So, if I were you guys, I would be trying to immerse yourself into any type of state or government work that you can get your hands on, you know?
Yeah. I try to, sometimes here and there, but usually those jobs, gone right before it comes to the public.
Yep.
You know, that
Yep.
happens a lot.
And in the municipalities around here, what
Yeah.
happens is they will make so you have to be like to do work in the city of Worcester, you have to be referred by a contractor. So you have to be a contractor in the count or in the city that's already established and does good work. And then if they go, we need a line striper, we're gonna there's a premier seal coating out there. Well, who can vouch for their work? And they'll ask contractors, and that's the only way you'll get the job, you know?
Yeah.
So it takes a while, like, you know what I mean? It does, it really does. But that's where like creative marketing and stuff, you have to be in the position for people to notice you,
Yeah.
like Cruz was saying, you know?
And another
Yeah.
thing to say, you guys use Chat GPT. You guys heard about it, like AI and stuff.
So I have once to try like write an article, but what do you use it for?
If you go to my business page, all my posts are Chat GPT. I
Really?
just I said I just tell it make
Hold
me
on.
a
We hold on.
Facebook post for my seal coating.
Oh, where the hell is it? Oh, I can't find it. I
So
want to
I
screen
want to show
share
I
and go
want
to
to
it.
align.
Yeah, so it will what? Like I have been on Facebook and written posts and then clicked on the uh use creative AI to rewrite this post and I am amazed with how the post comes
I'll
out.
yeah. I'll send you the one. There's a lot of them now, but I'll send you the one that I use. It's the best one I think. But anyways, I used Chat GPT and posted and made the post, made sure my business name was in it, my number, my website, whatever. And then I get on the friends and neighbors pages from like the towns by me, and I put that post in on their page, right? So then I put the pictures or whatever that relates to the post, and then yeah, now I am on this job currently bidding this job right here. It's a rehab center, and look at it. Like it's just like it's really easy, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, Facebook gets me all this stuff, man. This is my third
Yeah.
year in business, and we've done good. I owe nothing. My business is debt free, and yeah, we're good. Like, look at this. So it's a rehab center.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know,
It looks like it's in good shape too. Somewhat.
Yeah.
yeah. There's a minimum.
Uh,
I think it's a shit.
That cruise, man, I'll give it to you, brother. I mean, I love creative marketing, and I always thought I have let myself slide a little bit as far as like being unique in my I've kind of just, I felt into that like fat, like lazy. I got it now. I don't need to work. But dude, I used to hustle like you with the marketing, and you're fucking making me like you're like reigniting my passion for it. So. Like I really, I know I can watch other
Yeah,
YouTube videos, but you need to fucking sit down and show me like one day, go over it on screen time, like how to like walk everybody through it. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's there, and you're responsible for it.
yeah,
Because it's a
yeah. A
like it.
lot of people tell me that. Yeah,
Well, yeah, you just need someone to coach you through doing it. And I'll be the coach, and you can do it. All right.
Just like the customer. I was the customer. You'll be a better customer to
Yeah,
me,
that's
Bruce.
fine.
Yeah, no shit, dude. It's like it's a very like
All right.
such an
So
obvious thing, but no one you need someone to tell you, you know?
Yeah,
mhm,
technology's so hard to
yeah.
keep up
So
with.
yeah, so like now I'm on this job. I'm gonna try to nail this job. That's all I know. They're probably I've been sitting out here talking to you guys. They're probably like, who the hell is sitting out here? You know, I'm gonna nail it though. But I don't know about you guys. I'm comfortable, but I get really comfortable and I get anxious and I start freaking out when my season's about to start. Are we gonna make it this year? Are
Oh
we
my
gonna make
God.
money? Like, are we gonna do it? This and that, and then like my back gets, and when I'm uncomfortable, good things come out of it. Like my back gets against the wall and I just snap. And then like when you start getting, you need estimates. It starts with estimates. When you start getting the estimates going in, and then you start getting those approvals, it's the best high ever.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
I get so happy. I don't know if you guys can relate. It's a high, literally.
It is.
It's a high. It's the best high. Come on, let's go.
I
You
will
know,
I will go through the winter. I go through the winter, I feel so, I have a great
Lonely.
wife. My wife is awesome. I have 4 kids that just love me. My dad lives with me. I get to see him every day. But at the end, it's like I really like get depressed over the winter because I feel like I have no worth. I have nobody needs me for anything. I'm this in this
We
during the
need you,
season.
buddy.
No,
We
No
need
I
calls,
know, and
no
but
phone
during the
calls.
during the season, I get so excited because I'm out there selling work. I'm meeting with customers. I'm answering questions. I'm solving problems, and then I just come home all winter and I just sit here, and it's depressing. And then you're right, Cruz. Like come springtime, I'm at this point now for the last like 3 weeks where I'm only sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night. And I've just
yeah.
had some really big milestones like in my life as far as like I got all of my bullshit for my building out of the way. Like it's all been approved and I can start building and all these things that I thought were keeping me up all night. I don't know, those weren't the things keeping me up all night. Now I'm at the point where I am like, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I'm eating like 100, probably 100 milligrams of edibles a night, like just to try to sleep. And I cannot fucking sleep.
Just to get some sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. But because you know what it is? It's like as my season starts to come near, but this happens every single year. It's like
Do
I
we
sit
have
there,
everything
I
ready?
yes,
And you
I
know, like
obsess
yeah.
over the things that I cannot control, right? Even if I have a ton of work to do, it's like, okay, now I have all this work. How am I going to prioritize it? What about this? What about this? When's the weather going to get good? And then that's how I deal with it until the season starts. Then the season starts and I'm the man and I feel good and I'm accomplishing things. But then the fall comes and it all starts to happen again because I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. I am not going to be able to get any of this stuff done. And then there I go. I don't sleep again, and it's like it is the worst thing in the world. Cruz is right. It feels like a high because you start getting these estimates. I had a call. So I'm at this job and Friday was like one of the best professional days of my life because I'm at this job that the company messed up with the tarps. I found all the problems, so everybody loves us for that. And then I start getting these phone calls from one is from this company called Rad Sports. They're a huge athletics company. They do artificial turf, like, beautiful, like college stadiums. Well, they want to start bidding on some of these coating jobs, and they've seen our work and the guy likes us and he wants to have us do his coatings, or help him price coatings, but our foot's in the door, this is like a life-changing opportunity because this company is enormous, like you don't know, they could see the potential for how much money you make doing sport courts and just go, hey, we want this company like under our umbrella. We're buying out your sport court division. You know, yeah. And like that that's crazy, right? So they call, we want you to do some work for us, blah blah blah. And it's like, wow, okay. And then I had another call 5 minutes after that from another huge like company like that wants us to start doing, they do a lot of municipal projects and they want, hey, we just want to kind of sign you guys on as our sport court company, and we want to start bidding on all the whole project instead of just the site work. I mean, both between the two of those, it's life changing. It is life changing if that happens. Like, but it's also completely fucking crazy because at the time, what's going to happen, what's going to wind up happening is it's like careful what you wish for. You know, like Cruz, you put out all this stuff out there into the world, but if everybody who saw it called you the next day, your world would be over. You'd be fucked because now it's like, okay, how am I going to get all this done? I don't have enough people. I need 5 more guys. I was starting this season. I just hired this Russian guy, Drago. Like, wait till you see him on video. This dude is like, he's more American than in most Americans, but he's a tall Russian, like guy does not mess around, you know? And
If he dies, he dies.
yes, he's like that guy. He's
Rocky.
very, very smart, you know, very smart.
Yeah.
And he's like, but we're talking, you know, I was usually I have to go through maybe 8 guys a season to get one good guy. And I found my one good guy to start the season. So does that mean I'm going to get 7 shit bags after him? Because I've never ever gotten 2 good guys in one season. But technically, right now, I need 4 more employees. I need 4 more guys just to complete the work that I have right now. You know, and Mike says it. How do you get good employees that are not junkies, that are not alcoholics, you know, that are going to show up every day, give you your best, you know, and keep the company's like agenda in their mind as their own. And it's very tough, man. I mean, you know, it's taken me 3 years to build a crew of 6 guys that like, well, these fucking guys will die for me if I need them to, you know, like they're just the best employees a guy could ever want. They're loyal. They care. We're like a family. Like you see the videos of us on, you know, like we are
Good
joking
culture.
around, dude,
Culture.
all day long, dude. We just love each other. And it's like, then you go, okay, so now you got that, but now you got to bring other people into this world of yours, right? Of your family. Like this isn't just like a Walmart where we got 30 employees. You can just add some random guy. Like, no, we're a family. So I got to find a guy that fits my family, my work family, as much as I got to find an employee, you know? So you got to overcome that because one guy that might work good but doesn't get along with your crew is going to ruin the rest of your crew. You know,
Yep.
I believe more than anything else because I
That's
came
true.
from FW Web. I helped FW Web become, you know, as a truck driver for them. I worked for them for 17 years. I started when they were a tiny company and now they're like moving into both of, you know, your areas, Al and Mike. Like they're coming down the Jersey, they're in Pennsylvania now. Like they started as a little company. But I know that it's the employees that make that company grow. I can't do this all by myself. I can walk around, I can act like the fucking man and sell all this work till I'm blue in the face. But if I don't have guys that can execute the job exactly to my specifications and with my integrity, because look, you could send guys out to go do work, right? And then you go show up on a job and maybe the customer doesn't even call you, right? You got your money and shit, and then you go buy a job and you look at it and you go, oh my God, that is atrocious. My fucking guys did that. And it's like, you know, you got to have guys that will not walk off the job until it looks exactly the way that Ryan wants it to look on the job.
How do you find your guys? There's the big $1 million question.
You know what? So one of my guys, old Chris, the old guy in the videos, he lives right across the street from me. Right? He's an old alcoholic guy that just hasn't, you know, he's a hard worker, but he's just got his thing. So he came to me 5 years ago, I think. Hey, I need a job, you know, and I was just happened to need somebody that day. I was, come on, you know. But you put up with a lot of shit with a guy like that because some mornings he comes to work and he's like, ugh, like, dude, you really shouldn't be. I've had other jobs where we're working in the afternoons with police detail, and he shows up and I can tell he's been drinking, and it's like,
Hammered.
you gotta go home, you know. But like, one of my other guys, one of my best guys, Ricky, he lives at the end of my street. He's the boyfriend of a girl I went to school with, you know, and he was a guy couple of years ago. He lost his license for a DUI, got in a bunch of trouble, you know. I like to hire hard luck case guys, right? Like I will go. I don't want to hire drug addicts and alcoholics, but I will hire a guy who is a drug addict and an alcoholic. You know what I mean? I will fucking hire a guy who's on parole. because look, when you're talking to somebody, if a person's a good person. If you're a good salesman, then it means you're a good judge of character. So you're just immediately gonna start talking to people. This is what we do. Like we do seal coating, we do asphalt maintenance, but at the same time, like we are salesmen, and salesman is all about working people, communications, understanding who you're
Yeah.
talking to, you know, and look, it's like so to get into a situation where now you have a guy who um is a little rough on his feet, so to say, you can talk to him and go, like, this guy made problems, but he's a good guy. Like, you can tell, like, some guys just want to prove that they're not fucking shitheads anymore, that they did fuck up, but they want to get better in life, you know? And I'll tell you right now, my old Chris has his problems, but he's one of the hardest working guys that I've ever had. And he actually just like went and got himself cleaned up in the last couple weeks. So hopefully like that's behind him. But you know, Ricky, Joe, Josh, um, um, with the exception of with the exception of Mike's just a family guy, but these other guys have all been alcoholics. They've all had their problems. They've all either been in trouble or been, addicts or fucking didn't have licenses. And now they all have licenses. They're all clean and sober, and they're the hardest working guys I love them. Like I love them. I genuinely love them as people, and I really feel that's just giving a guy a chance. When I worked at Sealmaster, there was, the owner, he liked to have people who were right out of college, right? It was like, oh, we got to hire this guy's, interview with this guy out of college. The best guy that we hired was a kid on parole who lived at a halfway house because he was out. He just needed to prove himself. Whether you have like a church around you that has people like in their parish that are hard luck, or you have a troubled, like, the police often know like kids that are troubled and just are good kids but just need someone to emulate or to follow. Like, you'd be surprised. Like I tell guys a lot. It's a lot of the times it's not. It's you're gonna pull your best employees from the least place that you expect it. If you're on Indeed and you're doing this shit, you are fucking wasting money. These are people that are all about bouncing around from job to job. You know, the guys who want to work for you are going to be the guys who call you to work. They're going to look at your videos. They're going to say, wow, this guy's doing some cool shit. And that's how I found Drago. Drago just called me and was like, hey, I drive by, I see your trucks. I started watching your YouTube videos, and I think I would like to do this, you know? And he owned his own roofing company, doing his own siding, and he had such a hard time with employees that he gave it up, and now he wants to do this. So it's like, you're never going to know where they come from, but if I were you guys, I would start looking in where you're least expecting to find them, because that's where you're going to find your best guys. I mean, and who doesn't need a second chance? You know what I mean? I was a kid, like one thing that I've never really done, and one of my daughters told me I should do is like tell my complete story, like, but I was a bad kid. Like I didn't graduate high school. I just was in trouble with the law. I had to move away, like to get out of trouble. And it was like, you know, I can relate to people like that. Like I sympathize with kids like that. Now, granted, you're gonna meet people in your life and they're full of shit. They just talk shit, like a guy wants to be better, he wants to do better. But at the end of the day, he doesn't want to be better. He doesn't want to do better. He's just rolling through the motions. He's starting to get a little money from work, and guess what? His habits are coming back. He's not showing up. He's spending
And he's
time at
gone.
the club. Yeah, exactly. So when you meet somebody that genuinely, I have this kid Josh that's working for me now. The kid's 20 years old. He came to me when he was 18. He was a high school dropout. He didn't have a car. He didn't have a license. You know, I mean, and he just called me and said, I have seal coating experience. Like, can I come work for you? And it was like, a kid, an 18-year-old kid without a license. Like, I'm not hiring him. And then one day I needed someone to work, and I had this kid's number and I called him, and like, dude, he's so young. Like, he's like the type of guy you can imagine like selling your company to in 30 years, because he is so I am at 20 years old, I am giving him the whole seal coating division this year. I'm just letting him run it. Like he's so, goal orientated. He's focused on what he does. He gets really upset if employees are like fucking off and shit. Like he gets really pissed off about that. Like, but here's a kid that just needed someone to believe in him a little bit and reaffirm him and shit. And I try to do that every chance I get. I just gave him a car for, like he needed a car. Brother had a car. I just get, here's a car, like get here. Now you can get back and forth to work, believing in these guys just a little bit, being there to support them. They had a baby and we did everything we could to get them, clothes and fucking everything they needed from their registry. Like if you're an employee of mine, and hopefully you guys treat you guys the same way, like you're part of my family. If you need something, I'm going to help you. I have an employee right now that's got bad credit. I'm going to add him to a couple of my credit cards and try to help him get his credit rating up so he can get a house.
Make him a,
Yeah, man.
you
I want all my guys to feel like not just my company's getting bigger and my company's getting better, but we're all getting bigger and better together. Their lives are changing too because they work for me, you know? And I can't give them all the money that I make, but I can do little things to help them feel better about themselves. If I notice an area, one of my guys was telling me, oh, my credit sucks really bad, and I always wanted to buy a house. I was like, dude, I can add you to some credit things when we get he's going to be my sales guy. I'm going to wind up getting a sales car for him. I told him I would just add him as a co-signer on the car loan, even though I'm going to pay it anyways. Like just little things like that help people fucking tremendously. I mean, nobody in my life ever told me how much credit was going to affect me and
Mark or Ryan.
Yo. Yeah, Cruz. I think I lost him.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, and Cruz said before about he's debt free.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy.
You're only as strong as your weakest.
Yep. Yeah. Which is why you can't have weak links. And with him, I was a guy too that I didn't have debt. I didn't have debt on anything. I just paid cash for everything that I had, and I thought that I was doing everything right. And that is the worst thing that you can think. You need you need these purchases. These purchases are what build your company. They're what defers your tax liabilities. These interest payments on this equipment that you're buying, like all of this stuff. Like, that I am always buying something. Like I just got my big paint trailer. I just got the title in the mail last week. And that was like an $800 a month payment. And I'm thinking to myself, like, shit, what can I buy for $800 a month? My wife's sitting over there. Yeah. My wife's sitting over there looking at me going, no, you're not fucking buying anything. We're going to not calm these bills down a little bit. But like, I need a couple rack trucks. I need 2 more rack trucks to keep up with doing tennis courts. That's probably $4,000 in payments, and as these things start dropping off, I have to keep adding things on, so I mean, I don't know if you guys are running, I know Cruz said all of his stuff is paid off, and I know he likes to, buy some used stuff, but that's another thing that purchasing some of this equipment is going to help you guys with is,
Yeah.
deferring tax liabilities,
Well, this tax write-offs are very important too. You have to really be keep an eye on it. I think you have to have a good accountant or CPA also,
Yep.
To direct your right direction, because it's so easy to get lost because like a lot of residential, the houses that we do is always cash, you don't really show that, but any commercial that you do, and it's always check, and you kind of have to balance it out, with cash and the checks. And the best way to do it, like you said, just buying stuff, like the tools, and those are pretty good write-ups.
Do you guys pay a lot for workman's comp insurance?
Well, I don't. I just
have it.
Yeah, I don't. I just, don't want to deal with it.
So you guys are technically sole proprietors?
No,
Well-
ADP takes it out of the guy's checks. I don't know if I pay a lot or not. I don't really focus on it, but I do my payroll through ADP and they just do it for me.
So workman's comp would be different. I think workman's comp would be through like your general liability policy through your insurance company.
No,
Yeah.
ADP, the payroll company, can do it. I know.
Really?
Yeah, you know, and they kind of hit you with a whole bunch of fees last year. Kind of, I dropped them, and I'm trying to think what I'm going to do this year. But it's through another company, but they say, look, you don't have to really. I mean, you got to do that audit at the end of the year and all that stuff. But their point is that we know how much each of your payrolls is, so we're going to charge you the exact amount for workers' comp insurance. So you won't have to like owe or pay anything at the end of the year. And since they were doing my payroll anyway for the guys, I just
That's cool.
paid them to do it. Maybe just to make my life easier. Um, but yeah, they sub it out with another company, but then they charge you exactly what it is. But you still got to do the audit and give them all your numbers, and that's a whole pain in the butt at the end of the year.
Yeah, so that's one more thing before everybody goes that I wanted to just talk about is so your audit. So again, as you guys start, cruise, I'm surprised. Like if you get a place like that facility that you're at right now, and they ask for your COI, your certificate of insurance, and it shows up without any workman's comp on it, are you labeled as a sole proprietor? So technically you're like a one man thing, or are you an LLC or something? I see Cruz is frozen, but that's the
I
thing you
can
got.
answer that actually. That you could get the job. That depends on the building or let's say the building insurance. I do have some jobs coming up and I can get it because they asking for the
Yeah, your
workers comping
COI.
and stuff. Yeah, I mean, but not that those are usually HOAs, like they asking for those stuff. But I mean, like
Yes.
I had like a lot of places they don't ask, you could just get the job long as you finish on time and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh, I know a lot of the like property management companies,
Yeah,
bigger
yeah,
companies, they demand that you have to have it, and
Yeah.
then
Yep.
there
yeah,
has to be on your, and then you have to have workman's comp on it. Now, like I said, I
yeah.
got a 5, 6 crew, 7 crew with my wife on payroll, like, and it does, like Mike was saying, it goes off your, you got to audit it every year. They audit it but if so recently we got a thing saying, they usually take out one big payment and then some monthly payments, and we got an email saying your big payment's coming out at $17,000. And I'm like,
Wow.
that's a lot. It's usually like
Yeah.
1,100 a month for it, so I called and they said, well, you didn't do your audit, you know? So I wound up redoing the audit and it went down to like 11,000 or something. And I saved $8,000 just by doing the paperwork. But
Wow. Wow.
you gotta, it's basically based off your payroll. So if you guys both, Cruz and Al, if you guys were gonna start now getting it, it wouldn't really cost you that much because you don't really have a payroll to base it off of. You could say I'm a one
Yeah.
man show, blah 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 blah, and until you can prove that you have more employees, it doesn't really start costing you much money. But
The thing is with me, I'm on the field, I work, I sell, and I work also, with the guys that I work with, a friend of mine, we do that together. So it really doesn't affect me yet, but I kind of see that every year my customers are changing.
yes,
I'm getting more like, bigger properties and dealing with bigger management
yeah,
companies and parking lots and commercial.
yeah,
So this year, like last year, I already kind of felt it. I lost a couple of jobs just because of that.
yep.
But
And one of them would have paid for it, Al.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
One would have paid for it, and you know, I learned a lesson the hard way one time because, like, I had, general liability and workman's comp. Even though I only had one employee, I still had it just because I had to have it. And but I did this job. It was the biggest striping job I had ever got at that point. It was at the TripAdvisor World Headquarters, right? They had just built this parking garage, and real quick, another so there's this website called Blue Book. I don't know if either of you have heard of it before, but there's this website called Blue Book, and you should look into it. You basically just set a profile for your company up on Blue Book. You can do it free. You don't sign up for the membership. It's like 500 a year. It's bullshit, but you can sign up for free. And let's say like a company from Boston Mike, is going to come down to Allentown to do work. They'll go on Blue Book and they'll find all the seal coating companies or all the line striping companies. They're going to build a parking garage. Oh, so there's Premier Seal Coating in Allentown. They do line striping. Boom, you get an invite to that job. What you do with that invite is you just throw the most ridiculous number on it as possible. So like I did this TripAdvisor building. Somebody who's an HVAC guy told me about this website and he goes, look at a lot of times it's just a company from an area coming into this area. They're trying to line up contractors and nobody really knows about this website. It's like Precor or like another bidding website. They're like, if you sign up for this website, you put the bid in under their name, like to them, and they get the job, and you're the only person that bid on that job, then they'll pay you whatever you put for the fucking price. They have to fulfill the job. So I was line striping. I filled myself out as line striping, and I had like 7 floors to do. It might have been like, I don't know, 340 lines, but I put $27,000 on it. That's my go-to number when I just wanted to charge somebody. You know, I put 27,000 bucks on it. Wouldn't you know, I got the job, right? I was like, whoa, holy cow, 27,000. Now I got a. It's the first parking garage I've ever done. I've never really done a big layout job of this much, and I have to do it in the middle of February because that's when the construction ended. But okay, I'm coming. I do the job, takes like 4 days, and then they call me and go, hey, we got your invoice, but you don't have an umbrella insurance policy in place, so we can't pay you. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, you need an $8 million umbrella. And I'm like, well, I already have like $3 or $5 million. And they're like, yeah, but you need an extra 8 million on top of that. Like everybody that's doing work for this job has to carry this insurance requirement. It's part of the bidding. And I'm like, I am fucking painting lines on the ground. I am not installing elevator shafts. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there's not a waiver that you can sign because I heard there was a waiver. I'm like, isn't there a waiver I can sign that says I'm not responsible? Like, I'm just painting lines. I have no liability whatsoever. Who's going to get hurt with what I do? Nope, you got to do it. You're not getting your money until you do. So I call the insurance company. I go, hey, I need an $8 million umbrella policy. The guy's like, holy shit, what are you building, a skyscraper? I'm like, no, a fucking parking garage, actually. But yeah, I mean, I need it, to get paid. He's like, Ryan, that's going to be like $2,800 a month. And I'm like, what? Like, so now I got to pay $2,800 a month, like to get 27,000. He's like, well, look, what we can do is we can just set it up high. You pay it, and then after a couple months we'll drop it down to like $1,000. And it was like the only way I could get paid, so I wound up doing it. But what that did, having that umbrella policy in place, instantly opened me up to all of these other jobs because there were so many companies out there that didn't have that umbrella policy. So they just couldn't, you'd have to submit your bid with a certificate of insurance. They would look at what you could do, and you would just all of a sudden now we're getting all the jobs because we're the only company that has insurance that high. So we were just I mean, we started getting huge jobs, but we were charging out the ass for them. So, I mean, if I were you, I'd find if you got a good local agent and just go in and just tell them, like, my guy is great. I can just go in and sit and talk to him and just go, look, at the time I was like, I want to scale up my business. Like, how can I do that to make myself more appealing and get more work? And they'll build you like this, you'll have a little bit of everything, but it won't cost you that much. But on paper, it looks like, holy fuck, this guy's really got his shit together. I mean, Al, you're driving trucks, right? You drive,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I drove trucks. I love truck
yeah,
driving. You know, um, I just some days I wish I could still do it. But what is it going to take for you to walk away from truck driving? Because
yeah,
listen, dude, you're only holding yourself back. Like,
yeah,
I know you probably got good health insurance and shit, and they probably take care of you. But at the end of the day, like I sat for till I was 37 before I got my ass out of that truck, and
yeah,
decided this is what I'm going to do with my life. And since
yeah,
I haven't looked back. Like, it was the best decision I ever made. I've made so much more money than I ever would have made working driving a truck. And, that's just something that you got to really think about is like,
yeah, yeah.
it's great
Now
to have a side
this
gig.
is the Yeah, this is the year that I'm thinking actually. Like that's why like couple of weeks I'm thinking I'm like, should I or I shouldn't, you know? I'm
Yeah.
kind of in the between, you know?
Yep. And did they give you you got a 401k and stuff?
Yeah, I have 401k,
So
you know, all that stuff.
there are programs that you can take a little bit of your 401k money and use it to start up your business so you'll have
Yeah,
money to pay your bills and shit like while
yeah.
you're, you know.
You know, I don't really think about that because I have no debts. I have, you know, my seal coating rig is everything is paid off, you know.
Yeah.
I buy everything from my old boss that we were using together,
Yeah.
including my pickup truck. So, you know, it was the equipment that I was using for the work, and I it's happened to happen like I own them, you know. So I have no debts, nothing. So, you know, all the bills are I'm sure are taking care of that. You know, like I still do really good on that site also, you know, like even that is kind of part-time.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's kind of I kind of manage good on those things, you know, like so. But this is the year that I'm thinking. I think it has to happen. You know, it can be push another year. You know,
Yeah. Micah, you're not
because
working full time, are you?
Yeah, we're full time.
No, but you're not doing this as a side gig, right? You're going
No,
full.
this is a real deal.
Yeah.
It's a full business. Yep.
Where did you come from before you started doing this?
Man, I've been all over. You know, it could take you a while. I started out as a CPA.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
That
had a
must help you.
really good job, and um, got bored. You know, real quick, and then I really had a special calling for special needs kids. So I got a degree and I taught kids that were in special education for like 15 years. And then I got tired of that. And, you know, I have a winter gig I do guiding. I wrote some books on Amazon for coyote guiding. I do some predator hunting stuff in the winter.
Oh, nice, dude.
And, I just decided, you know, like I don't like working for other people because I've got high standards, and you're I don't know, when you work in those environments, you're always going to hit, like, if you really care about what you do and you're passionate about it, you're always going to bump into the people who aren't, and it's just frustrating. So like I said, I have 4 sons, and we're like, man, we got to start our own business, you know.
Mhm.
So we've been doing this, 5 years, and I've been doing other stuff on the side, as a ranger for a state park for a while. And I don't know, life's a journey,
It
like,
is.
it's just boring. Like, working for somebody else, it's just, I don't know. It's just, you're either entrepreneurial or you're not.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't. Life would be easy. Just, if I was a CPA now, I'd be making a lot more money.
Yeah.
And but it's not me,
You wouldn't feel fulfilled.
No, no, it's a
I
calling.
mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but like Mike, I mean, Al, you must be going nuts. Like I love working outside. Like I love being outside all day long, And when it's funny because when I was in a truck, I was like, I am so lucky I get to be in this truck all day. I'm in the air conditioning all day. I'm in the heat when it's cold. Like I get to listen to my satellite radio. I got all my programs, blah 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 blah. And then it's like I get outside or I feel that sun hit me, and it's like
Hmm.
this is where I belong. Like I could have the worst day, it could be a million degrees. I got coal tar burn all over my face, and I go home happy. It's like I think it's just a very, we're in a very unique position, and going from working in a school or in an office to working outside, it does so much for your psyche, who you are as a person, how you see the world. I mean, there's something to that vitamin D thing, I'll tell you. So look, man, I won't keep you guys much longer. I
Hey, Ryan, could
appreciate
I
it.
say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to thank you sincerely. You are a beautiful person. You're you have a little bit of a potty mouth, but you're a beautiful person, man.
I know.
Um,
I
I
remember you commented one time and said I don't think you should swear as much or something.
Yeah, just for the younger viewers. But hey, no, God is good, and you're a good person, and that's why I'm so attracted to your videos. And that one you were talking about your daughter, man, it almost had me in tears going, to college and leaving and
Yep.
all that.
Yep.
That and you're just so smart and so good at what you do. I really do want to come spend some days with you. I just admire you so much, and It's from the heart. Thanks for what you do with these videos. Like
Yeah, and
you're amazing.
dude, it's like I love helping people. It means nothing to me to sit here and talk to you guys for 3 hours and if it helps you guys, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
definitely.
Or I mean, I tell even guys around me, like I just had this, someone in my town got really sick and I put a thing out on Facebook and shit and was like, hey, can people donate money, and this guy who follows us on TikTok found this other seal coating company, and the seal coating company, donated money, and he's from a couple towns over, and I just called the kid and was just like, dude, like, you know, I I don't know you, you don't know me, but I am forever in your debt. Like, if you ever need anything, if you ever have a big job, I have the equipment. Like, I've always been that guy. If you lived here and had an issue in the middle of the night and needed a rig, yeah, go get my truck, go finish. Like, I mean, I've always been that way, and I don't understand like this industry where people like cutthroat each other because there's no need for it, honestly. Like, there's enough asphalt out there for everybody. If we become together, right, if we all kind of just come together, then we're going to protect the industry, right? Like, we're going to raise the level of quality, and by doing that we're going to protect the industry, and yeah, man, I appreciate it. I mean, I love the name Premier Seal Coating, so you won me over with that. So it's a great homage, I guess. They I honestly, like, I do it for this. This is my therapy, right? Getting it out, but having people that actually listen to it and can take stuff of it, means like the world to me. And I swear, like, if you guys ever need anything, I'm only a phone call away. Like, Cruz calls me, almost twice a week just to talk shit, and to bounce ideas and, hey, I got this going on, I got that going on. And yeah, sometimes it's like I'm standing in the middle of the parking lot, I'm holding the crack wand, and I got Cruz asking me questions, but I never they never chuck him off, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what he's going on at that moment, and at that moment he needs an answer, and that's what I'm here for. So again,
Great, man. Thank you.
I
Really appreciate it.
appreciate you guys as much as you appreciate me, believe me. All right.
Thank you.
All right,
It's
guys. I'll
been
see you guys later.
pleasure having met you guys. Thank you so much.
No
God bless.
problem.
Take care.
See ya.